Okay, now the most favorite, how to sex pieds. Pieds is a maybe you can sex it and a maybe you can't, depending on how heavily pied it is. For you guys to understand what a pied is, okay, it's these solid yellow feathers that have no gray on them whatsoever. That is what a pied is. They can also be solid white depending on if it's the white face mutation. No gray, just yellow. What it means is you can't see the barring on these feathers. You will not be able to see any barring on these types of feathers. So, if you can't see any barring, how do you sex it? Do you sex it by the face mask? No, you do not, because even if this was a hen, okay, it can have a beautiful face mask like this. Even if this was a hen, it can have a face mask like this. You can't sex it with the face mask. The only way to possibly sex this visually, if you want to give it a shot, is if it's not a heavy pied. So if you have a pied bird that looks like this, forget it, you can't sex it. You won't be able to see the barring. Okay, if it's lightly pied, you can possibly sex it. Now, most pieds, I mean, this is a lot of pieds here. Most pieds are pretty heavy pied. I mean, yeah, they got a lot of pied feathers. So you would want to sex maybe if it was lightly pied. So if it was, sorry, my birds are flying everywhere. If it was lightly pied like this, okay, where it might have some, the flight feathers and the tail feathers are gray. If it has that, and you have those feathers and it has barring underneath it, then you can possibly sex it. So that would be how you would sex a pied, only if it has enough of these gray feathers, okay, enough of these gray feathers on it, on the flights and under the tail to sex it. Barring would be hen, and no barring would be male. Now, sounds simple enough, okay, but it's not. It can take many molts for the barring on a male to go away, which means you might have a pied at 1.5 years, and that male might still have some barring. It might not even ever lose its barring. That's the tricky thing with pieds. That's why we don't like to sex them visually. But sometimes, you know, after the second molt, the barring would go away on a male, and you would know that it's a male that has no more barring. Pretty simple concept. Oh, my screen went blank. Sorry about that. Okay, so my screen's back up. So it's a pretty simple concept. You know, if it has the gray feathers, if it has enough gray feathers, if it has the barring, it's a hen. If it doesn't have the barring, it's usually a male. Please wait a couple of molts, not on the first molt. Please wait like the second or third molt to really make sure. I'm sorry if your pied is so heavily pied that it looks like this, and it's just got so much yellow on it, then you really can't visually sex this bird. You have to DNA sex it. Like, this is a lightly pied. It's got a lot of gray on it. A lot of its wing feathers are gray too. And my screen went blank again. Okay, let's hope it doesn't go black again. Okay, so yeah, this one would be lightly pied. You know, most of its body is pretty gray. You can probably sex this one. So I'm really, yeah, so sorry guys, like if you have a really heavy pied, like this one over here, it's pretty heavily pied. I wouldn't even try and sex it. Again, it has to be older. I mean, like probably like the second or third molt at least, just to be sure. Can't face sex these ones. Like this pied over here, I wouldn't be able to visually sex this pied. Forget it. Really depends on what type of pied you have. So there's really heavy pied. Heavy pied would be like this. Super heavy pied. There would just be the normal pied. Like probably this guy over here, you know, just a regular pied. And then there would be really lightly pied, which means it's probably got another mutation going on, maybe with pearl. Usually it's coupled with pearl. So it would only have a few of its flight feathers, maybe 1 or 2, and then maybe like 1 or 2 tail feathers that would be pied. That you can consider lightly pied. Then there's clear pied, where it looks, oh right here, where it looks almost like a lutino. Means it has so many of these pied feathers that it just covers its body. So clear pieds would have maybe only 1% of their body can possibly be gray, which means like 1 or 2 gray feathers. Then the rest of it would be all yellow. It has dark eyes though, not like the Lutino. Lutino has the red eyes. So that would be the difference. And yeah, so that's why pieds are so hard to sex. It really has to be an older bird. And not all of you know the age of your birds, and it can't be heavily pied like this. It just like this is a white-faced pied, can't be heavily pied like this. It really has to be a lot, just a normal pied, just lightly pied. And then you can probably give it a shot sexing it. Or if it's combined with the pearl mutation, then, you know, if it loses the pearls, it's a hen, it's a male, and if it keeps the pearls, it's a hen. So a lot of the times you're hoping that your pied bird also has some pearl in it, because then it'll make it easier to sex. Otherwise, pieds are so difficult to sex. So that's how I would possibly attempt to sex your pieds. Thank you.